Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
They're pulling the water out of the sand like sponges.
Blow it out your ass.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts about watching movies is when otherwise disparate films turn out to be about the same thing. And finding those similarities is something we're going to do more of here on Cinefix. Sometimes it may be about technique, other times it'll be about movies that have similar themes running through them, and still other episodes, like this one, are going to do a little of both.
Wow! That's amazing!
I'm Clint Gage, and this episode is about subliminal messages. John Carpenter's cult classic They Live is a late 80s masterpiece. It centers on a drifter played by the immortal Roddy Piper who stumbles into an alien plot to subjugate all of humanity. Or most of it, anyway. For a film full of B-movie tropes, epic brawls, and historically badass one-liners,
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
They Live is about a surprising amount of issues, from class divides and wealth distribution to the impact of the explosion of cable TV. But central to the aliens' plot is subliminal messaging. A signal broadcast over the airwaves has brainwashed humanity. Everything in the film, from the very first fade up in the opening credits, we see how the title is buried within graffiti, a signal-to-noise ratio that becomes impossible to decipher. In the world of They Live, advertising, TV shows, even magazines are all layered over the top of bold, blunt messaging designed to keep humanity unaware and blissfully ignorant consumers while the aliens and the global elite take all the wealth for themselves. 10 years later, Peter Weir's The Truman Show lands in the late 90s as reality television is exploding.
Good morning!
Morning!
Jim Carrey's Truman Burbank is an unwitting star of the biggest show on the planet, literally adopted at birth and raised on screen in an idyllic little prefab island town built on a gigantic soundstage. Like They Live, The Truman Show deals with a lot of stuff, everything from celebrity culture to privacy issues, but central to the conceit of the film is subliminal messaging.
It's a chef's pal. It's a dicer, grater, peeler all in one. Never needs sharpening, dishwasher safe.
The Truman Show's producers keep him on the island through an elaborate and inhumane series of manipulations. Things like killing off his father in a storm at sea take care of a lot of it, but the day-to-day is handled by newspaper headlines, drive-time radio, and of course, television. So both of these films feature subliminal messages, that much is obvious, but what the two films are about is the process of seeing past them, about pulling back the curtain. Narratively, for Johnny Nada, it's a pair of sunglasses that literally allow him to see through the alien signal. Johnny Nada is a drifter, already disconnected from the rest of society, therefore more objective in his view of what's happening. The world around him is being controlled and he's starting to see it. Truman, meanwhile, is living an idyllic life until a light literally falls from the sky and he begins to question the small things about the world around him. Truman, thanks to the manufactured life he's been presented with, is dug in, emotionally and psychologically. His life is staged and we're watching him figure it out. But here's where we get to a key difference in the films. Yes, aliens are a pretty big difference, but there's one that's even more important. One that lies in how the films are shot. John Carpenter's movie is almost entirely third person. Save for the shots from inside the sunglasses, we as an audience are sitting in our usual seats, safely in the theater watching a cautionary tale about how vulnerable we are to the images that bombard us daily. The Truman Show, on the other hand, is mostly from the perspective of hidden cameras. It's largely the actual production of The Truman Show. So we as an audience find ourselves in a familiar position as well. This one is on our couch at home watching a reality TV show. This means that the bulk of The Truman Show is a first-person perspective, and that first person is us.